What is up, everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we will be reacting to Lando Norris is throwing away the championship. Okay, this video was requested by one of my Patreon members, and if I'm being truthful here, I saw this video pop up in my recommended when it first came out like 6 days ago, and I chose to ignore it, hoping that nobody would request it, because I just knew that if I don't have a problem with watching the video because everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and this isn't me already starting the video saying that I disagree, but I'm sitting here saying the reason why I haven't filmed it and hoped that nobody would request it is because I know that everybody gets very, passionate about their opinions, and I didn't need everybody coming for me in the YouTube comment section. Saying that, one of my Patreon members has requested this video, so I'm gonna have to do it. And I'm just gonna have to put up with all the hate that I'll get in the comments. It's fine with all of my opinions, whatever. Argue with the wall at the end of the day. Who cares? So we're gonna get into this video. I mean, I'm intrigued. Like, I've enjoyed every video that I've reacted to from this channel. It's been really good, and I absolutely love listening to this guy's opinions. And usually, I'd say like 85% of the time, we're on the same wavelength. We have the same opinions. So I'm intrigued to see what his intake is on Lando Norris, because I know that I think it's a tricky one, okay? Because I didn't want to turn this into a 20-minute rant, but I'm just going to say it. When Max was winning everything, people hated him because he was winning everything. Same thing happened with Lewis and Mercedes, and when they dominated. McLaren aren't dominating, and Lando isn't winning all the time. But when he does win, he gets hate like everybody else. So I'm not trying to be like, oh, have pity on him. No, I'm not saying that, because everybody hates it when somebody is winning. That's just the way life is. People don't enjoy it. But I do think that, I mean, again, it's difficult, but Twitter is a scary place for people, like fans of Lando Norris, because people go so hard to hate him on Twitter. Same with TikTok. The reason why I started this YouTube channel is because my TikTok was growing. I know that most people that follow me on YouTube don't have TikTok, but I'm just saying. And everything I post over there is purely F1 related. And most of the time, I'm on the side of TikTok, thank God, that loves Lando Norris. Loads of people, hundreds and thousands of people love Lando Norris. But on the odd occasion, the algorithm will switch, and I will get TikToks come up on my For You page of people absolutely slating Lando Norris and dragging him through the dirt. And I just think, is it necessary? You're allowed to have your own opinion. I get that. Completely understand that, and you can have your own opinion. I'm not saying you can't, but to absolutely shit on someone and drag them through hell, is it necessary? No. Are we all humans at the end of the day? Yes. Do people make mistakes? Yes. Is this everybody's first time at life, and people are gonna make decisions that could be wrong? Yes. So why are we sat here absolutely just killing and shitting on these drivers? I don't understand it. I'll never understand it when people hate so bad on someone. Like, put your energy into something else. It's really not that. It's not that deep. But anyway, there's my 4-minute rant over, and we'll actually get into the video now. I am, like I said, I'm intrigued to get into it, but before we get into the video, make sure you subscribe. Over half of you that watch my videos still not subscribed. Just hit the bell. It takes 2 seconds, and if you'd like to become a member on this channel and receive exclusive perks, you can also do that by hitting the join button down below.
With just 2 rounds remaining in the 1986 Formula 1 season.
1986. So long ago.
Mammoth was coming into his own as a driver, extrapolating the most out of a car that just had unprecedented levels of downforce thanks to his gigantic testicles. And here on this day, in Mexico City, he should be crowned the world champion. He started the race from third, and he was still on it as everyone else went past. He ended up finishing behind his teammate, Nelson Piquet, who was never in a million years going to let Mansell pass in his bid for the championship because A, Piquet himself was in with an outside chance of the championship still, and B, this was Nelson Piquet. His moral compass went out with the Nixon administration. And
yeah, I was gonna say.
But even then, Mansell surely should have the championship wrapped up without much difficulty. All he had to do was finish third in what was the fastest car, and then it wouldn't matter what anyone else did. With a handful of laps to go, Mansell was third. But then all of a sudden, he wasn't.
What happened? Oh no. I think I've seen that shot before.
In the foot by pitting Piquet to avoid a potential tyre blowout for him. But despite an enormous charge at the end of the race, it wasn't enough. And
that's the thing. This video is titled Lando Norris is throwing away the championship. But have we seen McLaren in themselves? Like, come on. I think it's safe to say McLaren is throwing away the championship here.
Made this a substantial bottle job that lives on through the ages, and one would hope should serve as a stark warning in history for all those that follow who have the ambition of being the world champion.
Great. Cut to today. 38 years later. Okay, here we go. Bring me to the present.
8 years later, the McLaren team are in a similarish position to where they were that day in Adelaide. Their car was good, although not as good as the Red Bull, and at this point, not as good as the Ferraris were either. Compared to where they were 12 months ago, however, it was still a good starting point, and for the first few races, the McLarens were performing modestly.
You have to give it to them though, the way they've been able to turn this car around compared to the beginning of last season where they were still at the back of the grid. Crazy.
I'm asked that I'm going to revel in the fact that I predicted this at the start of the year. He was hovering around the top 3 or 4 positions, and in China, he took a sprint pole position. Still though, despite this good stuff, there just didn't seem to be much of a threat to the Red Bulls, or more specifically, the
Max Verstappen.
Miami. And
I do want you to talk about Miami. Best race of the season. Argue with the wall, okay?
side pot inlet, winglets, bodywork, and front wing. It almost wasn't the same car anymore. It was straight up B-spec.
Yeah,
What did all of this add up to? Well, from this point onwards, the McLaren became very freaking fast.
Yeah.
Over the course of the weekend, Lando was atop the timesheets, proving a genuine threat for a potential win, and especially so in the sprint race, where he was the fastest in the first and second session of qualifying. But then he muffed up his run in SQ3, which threw him down the order and left him to be collected at turn 1.
Yeah, that was a sad sight to see.
On Sunday, however, he had all the luck, seized the opportunistically shitty safety car, and drove away to his first Grand Prix win. The biggest takeaway from this race, apart from the pace of the McLaren, was that it proved that Lando can take the dub, dispelling the argument that he's bound to bottle any
The way I can't stop smiling.
driver. This sort of breakthrough can herald the beginning of a rich vein of form. But in Formula 1, the driver's form isn't enough. You need the car underneath you,
Yeah.
and it needs to happen on a constant basis. Was this just a one-off for McLaren? At the next round at Imola, we got our answer. If not for minor mistakes from Lando and Pastry, McLaren were staring down the barrel of a front row lockout for the San Marino Grand Prix. And then on Sunday, Lando pushed Verstappen hard for the win. The pendulum was undeniably beginning to swing. Red Bull were in the
He was so close that race. If he had like 2 more laps, he would have got that win.
particular was really starting to hit his stride. The gap between first and second in the championship was starting to narrow, but there was a major problem going on.
What was that?
Lando's pace was incredible, but his execution was sloppy. There were a lot of instances
Okay. I'm fighting so hard to bite my tongue here.
losing places and setting himself on the back foot for the rest of the race. It wasn't until Zandvoort where he would finally vanquish that winning drought, but
Yeah.
it still came off the back of a poor start that saw him lose the lead to his championship rival. The run down to Tarzan is shorter than Danny DeVito's gonads, and he still managed to lose out. At a track as narrow and rancid as Zandvoort is, it's a good thing that McLaren at this stage had become an absolute rocket ship. You could barely pass wind around that track, never mind a car on equal bearings.
Yeah.
Concerns over his starts were already in full swing before this.
Oh, the amount of questions he got every press conference. about his start. I can't imagine how annoying that must be for like any driver when they get like repetitive questions.
Around the outside of him, pulled his pants down, and left him vulnerable to the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, who went on to achieve an ultra-popular win, cementing Leclerc's status in Italy of being just below that of Coffee and
Look at that shot.
level with the Pope. But away from the red flare mist of the Tifosi on this glorious Sunday, the big talking point was, how in the hell did McLaren lose this race? Hypothetically speaking, if Lando had remained in front, maybe Ferrari's one-stop strategy would have stood less of a chance. But that's the thing. What exactly was meant to happen here? Tell Oscar that he's not supposed to overtake like this? Are they not allowed to race? Papaya rules?
Don't bring up papaya rules. If I hear papaya rules this weekend in Baku, I'm turning off the TV. I can't.
This championship should be in relatively easy reach for McLaren, so what's really left is nabbing the Drivers' Championship too. Now, we've got 8 rounds left, with 3 of them being sprint event.
Oh, lovely.
Into the points deficit by an average of about 8 points per round. That is perfectly doable, but to do it, he's gonna have to be nigh on perfect, because whatever that Red Bull is still physically capable of, Max will achieve it. But save for Zandvoort, and even that was marginal, has there been any round this year that you could say that Lando was perfect in? Well, hypotheticals. Let's have a look back from Miami onwards. The sprint race. He was top in qualifying until he turned into Lance Stroll in SQ3. Even if he only achieved a top 3 in the sprint, that's still about 6 points. In Barcelona, you would be hard-pressed to say that Max had the faster car, yet that was a 7-point swing right there. And lest we forget, Lando did have pole position, and finally in Monza, he lost out to a McLaren Piastri, potentially losing 10 points. And then for him to say that Ferrari had the better car in the race? Oh boy, you've got some stones, dude. Not even I could pull off a lie like that. And you've also just torpedoed any humility that you've ever had. Those are merely examples off the top of my head, but you are talking.
I don't want to say anything.
All of a sudden, the deficit comes down from 62 to 32, making it only 4 points per round to gain on Max. What do you think's more manageable out of those two? Now, yeah, this is racing. Not everything is gonna go your way all the time. And I know it's real rich for the sentient clump of mayonnaise on YouTube to criticize him, since this ain't as easy as we all make it out to be. But you have got to make all your moments count. Drivers such
I get that.
as eyebrows will always back themselves up. That's why they're World Drivers Champions. That is why they are legends of the sport. With Lando, it's always, if I did this, if I did that. Being self-critical is a good thing for self-improvement. But if we keep on talking about the same thing over and over, week in and week out, you see what's not working, why the hell are you not fixing it? It's not as if you're incapable of doing it, but you know, I won't lay the entire blame at the feet of this Belgian. Let's talk about the team here.
Yes, please, let's talk about McLaren.
To sort their shit out.
Yes, they do.
Can 100% hang with Lando? No doubt. We've seen multiple times this year that he can be the better driver, but we're at the stage of the season where they need to seriously consider prioritizing Lando. I understand how bad of a take that's going to sound to some people.
No, it's not a bad take. It's true. I love them both, but if McLaren want any chance at Lando winning a championship, they've got to help him as much as they can. That's what a team is there for. Cut the crap with papaya rules, okay?
Or, if you're a relatively new F1 fan, his dungeon bitch. I know, not very demure. I'm never gonna forgive myself for saying that. Now, they don't have to do that, but if they are going to pull the trigger on that, do it now. Stop sitting on your hands and waiting until it's too late. It was novel what Lando did in giving Piastri the lead back in Hungary, but that was a mess that you made, McLaren, and odds are that those 7 points are going to matter come Abu Dhabi. You've got an open goal here, and you're being Emil Heskey. Some people will say, oh, but they've got equal status. Piastri could still come back and, at least, overtake Lando for second in the championship. That team orders are just not the way to go in modern day F1. To which I do agree with a lot of that, but you cannot come to me with that and expect me to believe you would say that if the shoe were on the other foot. Whoever your favorite driver is immaterial at this point. What is the best chance for McLaren to get the Drivers' Championship here? Is it to back the leading horse, or will they remain impartial to the better end? Either way can work.
I think McLaren just need to actually, get their shit together. If they want this championship, then they need to help Lando as much as they can.
Off your shaggy-haired tramp and stop throwing away your pole positions, because Woking has not seen a bottling production like this since the Industrial Revolution. And by the way, if you're upset about Oscar's move on Lando, I hate to be the Baron of bad news, but
That's racing, yeah, I was going to say.
It's great that Lando is reaching his potential, and seeing McLaren back at the top of the food chain brings a tear to my eye. But at some point, as rich as it is for an F1 YouTuber to say, these Donnies need to look in the mirror. You cannot make the number of errors that they've collectively made and still expect to win the World Championship. History has shown that, and it seems that 38 years later, history is repeating itself.
And I hate that. It needs to stop repeating itself.
Couldn't help digging themselves a hole, despite having a car that was the class of the field. 38 years ago, McLaren were the beneficiary. 38 years later, they're at risk of being the befallen. Am I being biased in any of this? I mean, how can I be? I don't see Liam Lawson in this battle. The simple reality is this. I, nay all of us, just want to see a stonking fight for the title.
Yeah. Me too.
Ferrari are really becoming serious and can get Leclerc to turn this into a three-way.
He literally looks like a god there.
Be disappointed. Not really knowing who will win the championship is awesome. And mark my words, this title fight will go to Abu Dhabi. Who's going to be?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh, and I really don't mind. Just so long as whatever we get is cinema. And I am sure it will be. But the last thing that fans of McLaren and Lando will want is for the checkered flag to fall that evening and for him to once again utter that already boring word that has already become synonymous with him. If.
Okay. I am aware that I sat in silence for most of that, but I was trying to not speak, okay? There was a point to that. I was trying to bite my tongue because there were some things being said there that I did agree with. The whole McLaren thing, and they need to step up. Sure, 100%. The whole Lando thing, how he keeps getting pole and then not making it into turn one, still in the lead. Sure, 100%, I get that. The whole bit with how some fans didn't agree with Oscar's dive move on Lando in the last race, and he said that's racing. Agree with that 100%. This is not me. Like he said there, I'm not biased. I literally said during the video, I love both of them. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, no, you're wrong. Like, Lando all the way. No, I'm not one of those crazy fans that thinks, yes, Lando can do no wrong here. Because, you know, like I said at the beginning of the video, everybody makes mistakes. But McLaren are proving to continuously make these mistakes. And if they carry on, the championship is just going to slip from their fingers. But like he said there at the end, we definitely have a championship battle on our hands. And it will definitely go all the way to Abu Dhabi. And he said there, I don't mind who wins the championship. Honestly, if you'd asked me at the beginning of the year, I know there wasn't a battle then, but before this season started, if you'd asked me, oh, who do you want to win a championship, I would have not said Max, because we've obviously had him win the last 3 years and you'd want someone different. But now, I honestly don't mind. Like he said, I don't mind. As long as we get a good battle here, and instead of McLaren losing the plot in the next 2-3 races and then just not having a chance in the championship because they've made a few mistakes with their papaya rules. I swear to God, if I hear the term papaya rules this weekend in Baku, I'll be on stream at that point and I will literally pick up my laptop and throw it at the wall. I don't want to hear that term again. It's just not, it had no benefit to them whatsoever. These new rules that they've got, they're just damaging themselves and their own team and a chance to win here. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. I'm not do I agree with the video? Again, 85% of it, yes. So please don't hate on me in the comments. Don't come for me. I literally have been procrastinating this video. I was like, oh, I really hope nobody requests it. And then one of my Patreon members requested it. And I was like, fuck, I'm going to have to sit and do this video now. So yeah, please don't tap me in the comments. Because I think actually watching the video now, I agree with most of what he's saying. I'm not going to get into the bits that I disagree with because I don't want everyone just kill me. So we'll just leave that for now. But yeah, that video in itself, it was really good. So with that being said, if you have any other videos that you'd like me to react to, drop them in the comments. I'm working my way through everybody's suggestions at the moment. If you did want to check out any of my other socials or become a Patreon member and get early access to videos like this and priority over your suggestions, then you can do all of that down below. And if you want to become a member on this channel and receive exclusive perks, you can also do that by hitting the join button down below. But I hope you enjoyed today's reaction, and I will catch you next time for the next one. Bye!